because now, like, obviously you can make a full song start to finish in a week, but do you feel like even if you went on your own accord, do you feel like you could stay consistent with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. From what I learned, yeah. Now I got my template, everything. I bust that
Yeah.
out, start going from there, and just start
Awesome.
working on different sections when I want to.
Awesome. That's good. Yeah. Well, although, the one-on-one stuff is finished, we've still got, the 12 months of group stuff for you to join in on. Before you joined the Artist Launchpad program, what were the biggest challenges you had?
Definitely finishing music and the quality of it. I felt like I kept getting stuck on the same part, and then doing the program, it definitely like showed made you do five tracks of this part of that part, and throw it all together, and that definitely helped to like finish everything really quick.
Yeah, how long was it usually taking you to finish like a full song, start to finish beforehand?
Oh man, probably a couple weeks. I mean, bounce around, start something, try to come back to it.
Yeah.
But really, like actually finishing something was very rare. So like maybe a month, 3 weeks, or something like that.
Did you kind of know what was holding you back before then? Because obviously now you know what those things were, but did you have
Yeah.
somewhat of an idea before?
Not really. I just was just trying to make something, and then you just get, hit a spot, and think
Mm,
you had like writer's block or something like that, and just kind of try to push past it, and just get confused and try to look up a video and go from there, and hopefully like figure it out from there.
mm, mm. Because now, like, obviously you can make a full song start to finish in a week, but do you feel like even if you went on your own accord, do you feel like you could stay consistent with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. From what I learned, yeah. Now I got my template, everything. I bust that
Yeah.
out, start going from there, and just start working
Awesome.
on different sections when I want to.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Well, although, the one-on-one stuff is finished, we've still got, the 12 months of group stuff for you to join in on. Now, I don't know if you've checked those out yet, but you've also got like a bunch of other daily calls and the school community thing to check out as well. So definitely,
Yeah,
use that to your advantage because it's important to have that camaraderie of other people in the same lane as you are all showing up every week
yeah,
trying to make a new song. Because like a lot of the other graduates, they're in the same boat as you where they were taking weeks at a time before, but now they're doing it within a week. But now the thing is to just keep doing that. So those group calls really help to ensure that you still keep doing it because it's hard to keep yourself accountable when it's just you.
yeah,
Like, and
definitely.
there's no like boss or anything to say like, oh, you need to do this by then. So, I mean, the group calls are really just there to ensure that, every time you show up, you feel almost expected to have something new to show because everyone else is doing that too.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
super
like
helpful.
everyone's trying to level up. So it's like, oh, everyone's leveling up, so I need to level up. And that camaraderie I think is really important. But going back with the program, what did you think about that style of learning? Because the way I built the program was more based on kinesthetic style of learning. So most teachings in schools and just in like general teaching is usually auditory and visual learning. So you have like a teacher in the front of a classroom and they show you stuff and then they tell you stuff. But I must be autistic or something because that never worked for me. So like in high school, people would say things to me in the class and I'd just be like blank. But
Yeah,
I personally need to do repetition, repetition, repetition before it really sinks in. And then I almost have like a greater understanding than most people because through that style of learning. But I'm really slow at getting to that point. So when I built this program, it was really based on like that kinesthetic style where, we've got the visual learning, the auditory learning, but we're also doing repetition, repetition. So how did you feel about that style of learning?
I loved it because I think that's what helps you the best is like just making as much as possible, then
Yeah.
just learning from that. Because even like you start like the five that we did, that first one's like, oh, it's okay. Then you just do it like five more times, and then you like throw in different ways, and you just learn so much more from just
Yeah.
doing it like five consecutive times.
Yeah.
And just like the same section part too, like doing a bill five different ways. Then you're like, oh, you know what? I like that. This like the last one, of course, and
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
build on top of itself each time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And out of that process, because when we went to the more original stuff, when you're doing high volume originals with Ariel at that point, you know, even now you could keep doing five build-ups into drops as originals right now if you wanted to, or you could more focus on just doing one song start to finish in a week. So either or has their pros and cons, but which method do you think you'll do moving forward? Because you could do the five build-ups into drops in a week, and then out of one of those, that could be the best one, and then you finish that, or you can just do one from start.
Yeah, that's actually what I've been doing. Just the build ups to the drops, and then if whichever one I like the best, that's where then I do like the intro, and then go from there. It's like
Interesting,
the
interesting.
yeah,
Because, I always ask that question, and it's actually, I'd say about 90% of the people end up with that choice. Because,
yeah. It's
out
just
of one
like
of
you
the
make so
fives,
many.
yeah, out of
Yeah,
one of the five, one of them is going to be the better idea, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Awesome. So what do you feel like you got the most out of the entire experience?
I think it was just the structure and having the like pro tips, on the feedback calls. But like I try to explain what I was trying to do, and your area will be like, "Oh, I know what you're talking about. Do this and try this," and I'll just throw that on there. Be like, "Oh, that's how you do that. It's pretty sweet." It's
Awesome.
like learning all these like tips and tricks, that you wouldn't just learn from like just
Awesome.
doing it yourself. You kind of throw in your feedback, like, "Oh, if you're going for this, check this out,"
Mm.
and you got to throw that on. It's just like those little things you get to add throughout like all the music I do now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
I
really
noticed
cool. Just
I
like,
noticed I noticed the biggest difference for your production is that it's like way more filled out now. Because like
oh
before it
yeah, this
was,
layering
I
was
mean,
huge. Yeah,
yeah, because before even the waveform was like a skeleton of a track. Like you could see it was
yeah.
just like the transients
It's
and
like
then
here's the kick, there's the snare. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. But now it's like more of a thicker filled out waveform you can even visually see.
yeah. Even in like the intros and the build and everything too, because I know that lacked because I try to do like the effects and
Yeah.
lose all of it, but then like throwing in all the rest of it just fills
Mm,
the entire thing out.
absolutely. Cool, man. Well, one last question as well before we tie it up is if anybody's watching this is on the fence about checking out Industry Set, what would you say to them based on your experience?
Oh, I'd 100% recommend. It's like if you're trying to just start finishing songs a lot faster, and then you get to choose which ones you like the best. Just release those ones. You also learn all the tips and tricks and just kind of learn as much as possible, short amount of time. And after that, you get to keep going. I loved it. It was awesome.
Awesome. Hell yeah.